Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to talk to you about Calamity, the most recently announced or revealed or the next upcoming airdrop card for the Conflict Arcana or the Conclave Arcana Conflicts. This card looks cool. I haven't talked about it. I want to talk about it. Let's get into it, okay? All right, so we can see that we've already seen Emberglaze. We're unlocking Zarin the Scorch over the next few days. There's, at the time of recording, almost 5 days left, and I'm going to be set for 6. I was set for 5 on Emberglaze. I got 8. If I could pull 9 on this, I'd be really, really happy. I'd love to see Zarin Scorch be maxed out, but I'm actually less excited about Zarin Scorch than I am about the newest, most. Calamity to me seems like a really exciting card. And there's a lot of reasons I want to say for that. I want to spend some time just unpacking that a bit. But I mean, let's start with the stats. For it to have 3 mana, 3 magic damage at every level is, I think, really, really significant. And it has 9 hit points. It has the basic stats, 3 damage output, 4 speed, and 9 hit points, or better at every single level. 3 damage is really high for bronze and for silver. 4 speed is very fast. And particular at those lower levels, but even it's acceptably fast at the highest levels. 9 hit points, plenty. 10, sure, we'll take it. But for 4 mana, that stat distribution seems really, really, I don't want to say excessive, but I do want to say significant. It's notable. It's only explainable, frankly. It's only explainable because of the debilitation of Electrified. Electrified deals 1 damage to all allied units at the beginning of round 2 and each following round. So this card is going to damage the rest of its teammates. And that is a real problem, or is it? Of course, we know that Painforge is a factor in Splinterlands now. And Painforge, I would say Electrified is the best debilitation. It obviously causes damage to everybody, and maybe you wish that didn't happen. But Incendiary is another debilitation where there's fire damage done to the unit, the starting unit, and then it spreads, and it does 2 damage per turn. I would argue that's more concerning. That's harder to manage than this Electrified. And so, as far as debilitations are concerned, Electrified is great. And I'd almost even say I'd rather have Electrified over Weary. Weary is another debilitation which makes your monster has a 10% chance of exhaustion on round 2. And that means that, or I think on every round moving forward, it gets 10% higher every round. And so there's a probability that you're going to not act. It just skips its turn. It's as if it was stunned or whatnot. And it won't heal, it won't triage, it won't do anything. So Weary, I would argue is even worse than Electrified. So Electrify, of course, is damaging to my own monsters. But again, when you bring in the Painforge consideration, I really do think this is not exclusively a bad thing. It's the best debilitation that you can have on your opponent or on your monster. And combine that with the kit, 9 hit points is not going to kill itself, anytime soon. And you can, especially for 4 mana, this is a very, very reasonable. This is a very reasonable price to pay, mana-wise, for output-wise. And, of course, I think it just gets crazier. As we move into Silver to add the Life Leech, which is so significant, giving you, easily going to bring you, especially as you get into Expose, the combination of Expose with Life Leech, because Expose can rip away my opponent's defenses, including Void. So if you're using Void to avoid a 3 damage doer that I'm utilizing, like Calamity, I'm going to rip that Void off of you. I can turn your Void armor into not Void armor. And so a lot of the defenses that would mitigate the relatively, let's say relatively low damage output at the higher levels, 3 damage is not crazy, right? Being able to dodge that challenge, Voids and Void armors, makes this really huge. Makes it far more meaningful, the 3 damage output. Adding the Expose and how that can, let's say, restore your damage output in conjunction with Life Leech means that you're most likely, when you're going to be able to hit somebody, you're going to be able to steal 2 hit points every single time. Because of Expose, I'm going to rip that Void off you, and I'm going to steal 2 per turn, unless you've got Silences. So the synergy with all of this makes a lot of sense. And then Last Stand will bring make these stats really huge. Because if you bury this reasonably well at the back of your line, there's a good chance it's going to have 16 hit points by the time it gets to the front line. Give it 3 rounds, 4 rounds. It's going to have 16 or maybe even 18 hit points when it goes to the front line, if it goes to the front line, at which point it'll go Last Stand. It's going to get 50% increase to its damage output going from 3 to 5. It'll have 50% increase to its hit points going from 16 to 24. Yeah, which is crazy. And again, in conjunction with Life Leech, so it's not even done growing at that moment. Yes, it will never have another Last Stand sort of burst, but I just for 4 mana. I hope this is you're tracking, and I feel like I haven't really properly accentuated the Electrified because we need to go look at some Painforge considerations, and I haven't even talked at all about the Shapeshift. The Shapeshift is massive because it introduces connections with every one of the more recent summoners, and I would argue, and I expect that we're going to see new summoners from the conflicts that are going to produce other bloodline synergies. And so I would expect these legendary summoners to involve some sort of bloodline. It's kind of how things are done in Splinterlands. It's like when a certain trend happens, it's kind of explored or, to its nth degree within that edition. And then we move on. So I would expect that we'll see more bloodlines within the legendary airdrop summoners, maybe in the mini edition too, but then not again in the following set. That would be my thinking. And so every one of them is functionally applicable to Calamity. And I've already made an argument for why it's got amazing stats at every level. 4 mana is practically free. The ability to synergize really well. The single limitation being Electrified is actually the best of the limitations, the best of the debilitations. And the Shapeshift is this ever increasing power threshold because it gets better and better and better as there are more and more bloodline dominions or synergies to work with. It's a dragon card. So you think at first, I've got to use dragon summoners. But remember, it's a Shapeshifter, so it's playable with every single summoner that allows a bloodline dominion trait. Gorga, Kavor, Razi, Faith, Bella, Kalia, Sheng, of course Sheng because he's a dragon. But I think uniquely Razi Clanktrap is going to benefit, of course, because of the Painforge capacity. So when she offers for all of the gnomes, she can call every gnome from every team or splinter. Shapeshifters count, and then it gives them close range as well as Painforge, and Painforge is the unique ability that when procced in conjunction with Electrify can be very devastating. It allows the growth of the damage output to really escalate. I also think it's interesting to think through Kalia with the Execute as a bloodline dominion trait or synergy, because as we pointed to, 4 damage becoming Last Stand as 5 damage. Kalia Silverleaf offering Execute in conjunction with the 3 damage might not seem like a lot. But then imagine you're going into Last Stand and you're doing 5 damage with an Execute. Suddenly I think that matters a lot. Or if you want to bring in Enrage with a 4 speed that's becoming a 6 speed due to Last Stand, you're going to a 9 speed because of the Enrage. Good luck hitting me. Of course, you could bring magic, but I've got Life Leech with damage output of 5. I'm going to be life stealing, so you're going to miss me unless you're hitting me with magic. And when you try physical, I'm probably dodging it on a 9 speed. And so I think these are 8 mana builds I'm talking about. I'm talking about a 4 mana summoner and a 4 mana Calamity for 8 mana. Now, you're probably on more recently, we're not seeing a lot of those 12 mana matches. So perhaps this isn't the most applicable sort of meta play, but I really hope I'm not trying to make an argument that in all the 8 mana matches we're going to play this. I'm trying to make the point that this seems really functional, whether you have almost nothing partnered with it or whether you have lots partnered with it. I think this is going to be one of those cards that you're just going to throw in there almost every time, because for 4 mana it does so much. And then in the back to basics rule set, which is still far more common than I would like, having a 4 mana 3 damage monster that can partner in so many ways with the reward cards, whether you have a maxed out Shock Trooper or whether you have a maxed out Kazi Conjurer, and then of course the Halfling Refugee. Those low mana matches, or those matches where they're back to basics, you just want a meat shield with the 1 mana. You want the magic damage output for the 4 mana, which is a 4 bomb crazy, a 5 at the highest levels. Or if you can't do blue, you do red and you bring the Kazi Conjurer for 2 mana and 6 damage. But my point is that Calamity slips into that system, giving you a big meat shield for low mana with high damage output. So I think no matter how you slice it, this card is just going to slip in every context. If Dragon's available, or even if Bloodline Synergies are available. And I think we're going to see even more versatility because we will eventually see other Bloodline Synergies. At minimum, we can expect some of the ones, the races that are already in existence, and probably eventually we'll see all of them. Every single one of them, right? Look at all these Avian, Awakened Beast, Bruteborn. All of these will have a summoner of their own, I think, at some point. And when they do, wow, the options for a card like Calamity, that is really, really, in my opinion, the cornerstone of why this will be not just widely applicable, but deeply impactful. But for now, I really think the Gnome play will be the most impactful because it's going to create a Pain Forge synergy. You need the blue to be available, otherwise Diviner can't be played. So it seems to me that Calamity is going to be widely applicable, deeply meaningful, and extremely valuable. I think it's going to be more applicable and therefore more valuable than any of the other cards thus far. And I do absolutely think that the Shapeshift is the wild card that creates an enormous amount of flexibility with an already super stat heavy low mana monster. And when you say super stat heavy, you're only thinking 3, 9, and 4, but this thing can 50% X that because of this last stand functionality. And then what about Life Leech? So this combination works and it seems really powerful. I think, especially for 4 mana, I think it's probably fair to say this will be more functional than Emberglaze is in a wider variety of matches. Emberglaze is amazing. I've talked about how I almost never lose with it. It's a great card. It's a huge damage doer. It has 5 damage melee as well as magic damage. It has armor. It has hit points. It has incendiary damage, so it burns itself and burns your team down. But it's well worth the debilitation. However, this is a 10 mana monster. It's more difficult to slip this into play than it will be for a shape-shifting 4 mana beast like this. And so I think Calamity is the best airdrop card thus far. And I think it will become even better as we see more and more summoners drop that allow new and more amazing synergies with Calamity. How about somebody with phase? How about some summoner that gives you, self-heal? That'd be crazy when you have 24 hit points. How about something that gives you blast with the 5 damage output on the last stand? So the amount of synergies that are possible after we start to build out the list of summoners, the list of summoners that are going to create Bloodline Dominion synergies is going to grow and grow and grow based on the list of bloodlines that are already created. And I have no doubt the team is thinking about others beyond this. Will there one day be a summoner for every one of these? Undead, Treefolk, Sweetie, Plant, Minotaur? Maybe. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Calamity, what you think about my thoughts on Calamity. Have an amazing day. God bless.